I'm Fred Satilli. I ought to call this series Pick Your Outrage, but we'll see. I had a Supreme Court case to report on this week, but was in personal conflict about it. I approve of the legitimacy of American Indian nations on the land here, but am in conflict as to what those nations should look like. In other words, I have to answer some questions to which I have to give more consideration. Apparently, I'm too ignorant on the subject at this point anyway. So, I'm going to report on what I'll abbreviate to call firefighters versus Palo Alto. Palo Alto faced a budget crisis in 2011. That's 13 years ago, folks. So they did what any responsible person would do. They attempted to cut spending, right? Bravo! The city council created a resolution they called Measure D and put it on the ballot. The voters, in other words, the people, voted to adopt Measure D. Well, in the creation of Measure D, the city did not first consult the union, whose members would lose some degree of funding. This was actually a violation of one of those laws that nobody knows about called the Myers-Milius-Brown Act. Even though the letter of the law was broken, the trial court that agreed the law was broken did not invalidate Measure D. Instead, it issued a multi-step order that suspended the current dispute resolution order, retaining the possibility of future invalidating of Measure D. Remember, Measure D was what the voters wanted in order to address the city's financial crisis. Well, here we are 13 years later, and the Court of Appeals of the state of California reversed the trial court's judgment. The appellate court held, I'm going to look up the word held in black laws later and find out what that means, but it held that the trial court abused its discretion by not invalidating the will of the people in addressing their problem and invalidating Measure D. So, for 13 years, the will of the people was denied while lawyers were paid and paid and paid, and now the will of the people is denied permanently in favor of the union. My question is, who does Palo Alto belong to? The people, the union, or the caprice of law? My other question is, if so many rulings are overturned, how can any court be respected? How can we trust courts that are commonly held to be wrong? Let's face it, lawyers and judges have no credibility. They're just wrong entirely too much of the time. So maybe I should try a Native American nation, at least until corporate America gets its act together. Leave your comments below. Thank you.